performance marketing is probably has never been as measurable as it is in this day and age, and yet somehow growth is harder to achieve. So let's challenge a few assumptions here. That efficiency doesn't equal success anymore, and that more budget does not mean growth necessarily. And we'll start with the latter. So with performance marketing specifically, where do you think it starts to plateau, and why?
I can answer this. I think there's an art to performance planning, right? So if you focus too much on those demand KPIs, you will exhaust them. So if you were not looking at generating that demand, then that's where you start seeing that plateau occur, because you've maximized everything there and haven't created more attention. So that's where the art comes into that performance planning. And that is where I think you start to see the plateau.
Media planning, right, as an art, as like kind of Lavinia said, I wanted to add on that, is that like performance marketing is essentially going after the audiences who are in market, essentially, right? But how do you actually plan for being top of mind for people who are currently not in market? And that's where the art form comes in, right? Like we need to ensure that we are there when people are actually making the decision to buy a product. But at the same time, we also need to build for the long term. So that's the balance that you need to keep between like kind of brand awareness campaigns and performance campaigns. And that's what our team like kind of tries to do.
There can always be too much of a good thing, right? We see diminishing returns. Every great idea runs out of steam, and that's why we always have to be innovating, because you do see those diminishing returns.
So it's almost looking at performance planning and performance optimizing more as a system. So you're not optimizing just one metric, but you're actually looking at it as a system. If we do that, what kind of levers are we looking at, both from a planning perspective, but also from optimizing perspective? What is it that we could influence as marketers?
I mean, it starts with people. I mean, ultimately, despite, even with all the technology that we have, it starts with the consumer or the customer. It's always about the person. They're making the purchase decision. And if we can understand more about them and connect to them emotionally, what they care about themselves, they care about their lives, they care about the things that are important to them, they care about their organization. And if we can tap into that with the content and the creative and all of the technology that we have to do that, then that ultimately is what's going to move the needle.
Just to build on that, creative is going to have to be one of your strongest tools to bring what Jim just said to life and how you connect to people. It is going to be through what your creative messaging says, rather than where you necessarily put the ad, which does help, but it definitely has to be done on both sides.
You do have to cater the levers, the creative levers you put based on the algorithm you're working with. So how you would use creative for one major platform like a TikTok versus Meta or Google is you need to change it in different ways, different ways of approaching that messaging or the formats or where you kind of put in the CTA. It's very different. So it's not as simple as just flipping a creative and across all platforms that it works. It's a lot more complex due to these platforms.